Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Happy Thursday. I am jumping on to make sure that I'm live and all the things. And that way I can also see the comments because Facebook does this weird thing where it doesn't actually allow me to see the comments from here, which is a little ridiculous. So, now it's not showing it. There we go. All right. Oh, Okay, there we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, I'm going to start a little bit differently today. So last time I taught this class, which is still in this group, or if you want the replay, it's also in the membership area. What we started with is talking about how we date the same people in the different bodies over and over and over again. And today I want to start a little bit differently. Because as we start looking for a partner and as we start looking for love, one of the things that I see people really challenged with is, what am I actually looking for? And number one thing that I see is that people know what they want, they think. But often it's framed in not statements, or it's super superficial, or it's super low bar. So what do I mean? I just want a woman who treats me well and likes doing XY, likes doing the same things that I do. Really low bar, right? I just want a guy that's not a narcissist and that is trustworthy and that I can respect. That's great. Very low bar. What this is about is, who do you actually want as your life partner? So one of the ways I frame it in the Learning to Find Love course, which is the 6-week course or the weekend long or the 1-day long course that I do, is we talk about, if you were a company and you were hiring the CEO of a company, something that would make the company culture better, that would make the company more successful, that would make people love to be part of that company, that would set the standard. What would you look for and how would you hire for that position? And what's interesting about this process is the Learning to Find Love course actually goes through, it was actually created by my mentor who's a healer and a woman who used to do that for a living for big companies. And so as we're looking for, what is my life partner, my soulmate, my earthmate, whatever you want to call it, what are they actually like? Who are they in the world? Because we can go for looks, we can go for just, I don't want XYZ again. But really what we're looking for, hey Dominic, nice to see you. Hey George, nice to see you. What we're really looking for is, what's the highest quality person that I can get in my life that fits who I am? One of the challenges that I see also is that people look for, how do they treat me? Which is great. We all want a partner that treats us well. If they're not treating us well, we're out. And what does that look like, sound like, feel like? And how are they treating other people? So here's an example. Let's say that I'm a really generous, empathetic person, and I really like supporting volunteer causes. I like volunteering my time. I like giving to charity when I can, and I want a partner that has some of those same values. How is that partner treating the waitress or the waiter? How is that partner treating the homeless person on the street? How are they talking about people that have different ethnicity or different social status or different religious beliefs? Because it doesn't matter what a person shows to you as far as how they're treating you and interacting with you. Because I'm sure you've all been on dates where people have been on their best behavior, right? People show up and they're on their best behavior and they're dressed all nice and they act a certain way and they say all the right things, and then 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road, it's like you're dating someone completely different. And that's because we're evaluating a person based upon how they're showing up for us and with us, which is not necessarily who they are in the world, which is why we can get trapped in people that love bomb, or people that are narcissistic, or people that are so afraid of missing out, or that are such people pleasers that they will do anything to get your love and adoration, but then once they have it, they can't hold that facade up anymore. So when you're looking for a person, when we start developing these traits, which you're going to create some tonight, when we're looking at who are they, it's not who are they with you. It's not who are they just like for example, they're not who are they going to be with me when I'm sitting there on a date with them, or when I'm having emails or conversations or text messages or Zooms. It's how are they interacting with the world at large? And this is really important. And this is what we miss, because we go on dates. And I'm sure you've done this, because most of us have, where you walk into a date situation and you say, I really want them to like me. And so you like put on your best front. You dress up decent or nice, appropriate, dress to impress. And you work to connect with the other person. And you work to make a good impression, and you hope that they like you, and you don't want to embarrass yourself, and you don't want to do something stupid, and you don't want to, because your focus is on how is that other person going to see me, and are they going to accept me? So think about that. If you're out looking for your lifelong partner, and you're more concerned about how the person across the table from you sees you than who the person is on the other side of the table, your focus is in the wrong space. So I see this even with people that are struggling in their relationship. We get really focused on, what are they doing to me? This is what's happening to me. This is how awful things are. And we're me focused. Nothing wrong with that. We have a right to feel our emotions, to feel what we feel, to see what we see. And our unconscious mind, which is the part of us that drives to the store. You know how like you drive to the store and you get there safely, you don't actually remember how you drove there? That's the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind is also the part of us that knows we're going to the store because we have to pick up groceries before we go home, but then we end up at home and we go, how did I get home? I was trying to drive to the store. Right? That's the unconscious mind, and the unconscious mind is driving everything we do. So if we can't even make it to the store when we want to, what do you think it's doing in your dating life, in your relationships, in your ability to communicate, in your ability to show up with confidence in a situation? Because the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. So the way that you date or the way that you show up in a relationship is also the way that you're showing up or not showing up for yourself, for your job, for your workouts, for your health, for the people in your life. And you're like, no, Dawn, that's not true, because really I guarantee if you look at the bigger thread, there's something that's running through everything. Because our unconscious mind has strategies on how we do and don't do things in our life. So when we are looking at dating and when we're like, okay, what do I actually want in a lifelong partner? So let's get to the traits, because that's the juiciest part ever. Anyway, that's what everybody comes here for. What does it look like when someone has the trait that I desire? So here's the exercise I'm going to have you do. And it's going to take longer than we have time for right now. So grab a piece of paper, grab something to write with, and here are your instructions. You are going to write down, take up to five of your significant relationships, partnership relationships if you have them, in your life. And I want you to write down on one column or one page, you can do it in 2 different pages, everything that you loved about that relationship, What did you love about it? I loved the communication. Great. Be more general, more specific. Not just I loved the way that we communicated. What did you love about the way you communicated? Did you sit down and have big conversations? Did you talk about philosophical things? Did you love that you could get deep and vulnerable? Did you feel safe during communication? What, not just like we had good communication, what does that actually look like, sound like, feel like? So that way, as you're dating, you can look for similar things. And in the other page or in the other column, you're going to write down everything that you didn't like, that didn't work in the relationship. So if that was, let's just say it's also communication, right? Because sometimes parts of communication can work and parts of communication don't work. So if you're thinking, okay, well, this part of our communication didn't work, what specifically? Did they gaslight you, make you feel ashamed of your emotions, make you feel unsafe when you expressed? Did they tell you you shouldn't feel that way, or that you were too much, or that you're not enough? Did they yell at you? Did they walk away from situations? Did they tell you they were going to do something different and then not follow through on their actions? Did their words not match their actions? Were they lying to you? So you're going to make a list of all the things that you liked, all the things that you didn't like in the relationship. Now, you can add things like how they treated you and not treated you. Normally we keep those in separate categories, but we break that down in the class. And same thing with chemistry. We usually keep that in separate categories, so don't necessarily write down like how they looked or how the intimacy was or that kind of stuff. But if you feel like it's important, write it down. But we put those in different categories later. Because right now what we're looking at are the traits, meaning who are they in the world? Who are they? And this is based on you and what you want. Because I can guarantee you, when I write, I need a good communicator on my list, that is going to sound way different than your version of a good communicator. What I want in communication is going to be pretty different than the majority of you out there. So we want to be really specific. So what you're going to do is you're going to write down all the things you liked, all the things you didn't like. Step 2. You're going to take all the things you didn't like and move it, like make the opposite to make it positive. So in other words, if you didn't like that they lied to you, what would you rather have? Maybe for you, that's integrity. Maybe for you, that's honesty. Maybe for you, that's truth. Maybe for you, that's open community. Like, there's different words you could use, and each one of them will have a different resonance. Because remember, words are an energy. Words have power. So you want to use the words that resonate with you. And so once you turn all the negative things, all the things you didn't like, into positives, now you've got a whole big list of beautiful, lovely things that you desire in a partner. But here's the challenge, is you're not going to go on your next date and be like, I have these 100 things that I'm looking for in my partner, right? It's too much. It's too much. How do you evaluate that? Because that's how we start getting into, oh, well, I really like this person because they're funny, but I really like that person because they're really intelligent. Oh, I really like this person because they like going out and being wild and dancy and like we have a really good time. But I really like that person because they're solid and they're stable. So then how do you pick? So the key is that we narrow it down in a way that you don't have to pick. Because once you're really clear about what you want, all these qualities will come together in small words or phrases. So for example, when I first did this course, right, because I took this course, it was, like I said, it was developed by my mentor and her friend Julie, because it's got a lot of emotional healing work with it as well. And when I first took this course, I did it because I was getting my relationship coaching certification for singles, right? I have 3 different certifications. That doesn't matter, right? Here nor there. Because I don't really call myself a coach as much as I call myself like, I want to help you emotionally heal and help catalyze you into your next relationship. Like, that's my job here, and that's what I'm here to give fully and completely to you today. So when I took this course, I had a list of what I wanted. I knew exactly what I wanted in a partner. And so I was like, okay, well, I have to take this course because it's part of the certification, because I have to learn how to teach this course, and it's going to be amazing, and it'll be fine. And I'm going to play along and do the things because that's how you learn. So when I did this, and I wrote down everything that I loved and everything that I didn't like with my last 5 relationships, I was astonished to find out that the number one thing I needed in a partner was playfulness. Nowhere was that on my radar. Nowhere. But I needed play. The things that I complained about with my exes was that we didn't have a lot of fun together. We didn't do these things, or we didn't do that kind of thing, or they'd make fun of me with these things, or they couldn't engage with my nephews. And the things that I loved actually came out of one short-term relationship that I had when I was in massage school in Salt Lake City, which was, he was super goofy and playful. And we laughed all the time. And all of a sudden I started looking and I was like, oh my gosh. So playful was the word for me. Not funny. Not someone who made me laugh. Playful. Why? Because I want someone that can be playful in conversation, that can kind of tease and joke around. I want someone that can play with my nephews and have fun and be engaging. I want someone that if I decide that I'm going to go slide down a slide in the middle of winter, that they're either going to join me or stand there and enjoy it while I do it, right? Someone that's not going to make fun of me when I let my childish side out. Someone that can be playful if I screw up dinner and I'm trying to like fix something, or they're coming jumping in with me, that we can be playful around it. Someone that can be playful in the bedroom, right? All of these things are important for me. So playful is an energy trait that runs through every aspect of how I interact with life and who I want my partner to be, right? It brings in that playfulness, the gratitude, the joy, because if they're joyful, they can be playful. When people are in gratitude, they tend to be more playful. Because like the worst thing can happen, and not that I, like, part of my counter evidence is that people would make fun of things that are serious, or, you know, but how can we turn something into the best case scenario? And that fell underneath playful for me. So I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself as I've talked about this. So you've got your list of positive things. You've got your list of things that you didn't like so much, and you've turned them positive. So now you have all of these things. And what you're going to do is you're going to group them into themes, up to 10. No more than 10 themes. And these are themes of what is valuable to me in a lifelong partner. So this can look like something around stability. This can look around something like communication. This can look like something around their spirituality. This can look like something about how they show up. Not for you. That's a different category. So the second category that I talk about is king or queen treatment. How do they treat you? So that's a different category. Chemistry is a different category. So when we're talking about traits, it's who are they in the world? So maybe they're family oriented. Maybe they're really generous. Maybe they're really, like, you can put in any word or kind of small groups of words in that and start categorizing the traits and come with up to 10. Now in the Learning to Find Love course, I actually bring you through a grid to help you find what is actually truly the most important to you. But for right now, this is a good place to start. And here's why. It brings a whole new level to the dating game. A whole new level. Why? Because now when I'm sitting across the table from somebody at a coffee shop on a first date, I'm not worried about what they think of me. I'm enjoying the person across from me for who they are. I'm showing up super authentically as myself because I want to see how do they react to me as me. Big on the giving a queen treatment. Yeah, Dominic. Right? And there's so many gender wars right now on social media. It's like men are attacking women and women are attacking men. And it's like, no, we all have to respect each other. And then when I'm treated like a queen, I guarantee you I want to treat my man like a king. Like, I guarantee you that becomes my number one thing I want to do. Right? I love it. So when we're looking at the traits, when we're sitting across the table from another person, dates become more fun because now I'm not sitting here worried about myself, worried about what I'm saying. What are they going to think about me? That's awful. Who wants to do that for a whole hour, hour and a half, or however long you're sitting across from somebody? Nobody. It's torture. It's a mind fuck. Excuse my language, but it's true. Right? But if I'm sitting across from someone and I'm enjoying them for who I am, and I'm going, you know what? My 5 traits that I need are these things. Do they have them? I'm curious now. So if I'm being playful, can they meet me with playfulness? If I ask them a deep question about their family, are they willing to be vulnerable and answer that? Are they going to sit there and complain about their ex the whole time? That gives me some valuable intel about who they are. And not to say that people can't have bad exes and talk about them on a date, but it might maybe go, oh, they're talking really poorly about their ex. Let's see who else, how they talk about other people in their life. So you could ask a question like, have all your relationships been this bad? That sounds really awful. And you can come at it from compassion and empathy and then see, oh yeah, all my relationships, all the guys I dated are narcissists. Like, I just have this habit of dating narcissists, right? Like, if they start going down that road or complaining about their friends or bad-mouthing family members, you might be like, aha, this person doesn't have the trait of compassion or empathy or love or whatever my trait is that I'm looking for. My traits, because we're looking for up to 5. They don't have it. And that's okay. And good. I learned fast that this isn't the person I'm looking for. And I can graciously be like, this is great. Thank you so much. I'm not interested. And that's it. Thank you for this time together. I'm not interested in dating long term with you. And people are like, oh, I got rejected. Oh my God, I got rejected. Rejection's so hard. We're all trying to avoid rejection. No. Here's the beautiful thing. When someone says no, they are letting you go so you can find the person that's right for you. And you are doing the same to somebody else when you say no. Because one of the worst things you can do for someone is waste their time. Get them emotionally engaged and involved with you when you know that they're not going to serve you long term. So we say, like, to bring it back to that business kind of idea, hire slowly, fire quickly. If they're not right for you, don't waste their time. Don't waste their money. Don't waste their energy. Don't get them emotionally hooked on you because of your own dang ego. Let them go. And let yourself go. Because I guarantee you, there's someone better around the corner. And if we're hanging on to people out of fear, lack, mindset, scarcity, that's what we're going to attract everywhere else in our life. Yes, Dominic. Yeah, I see both sides almost regularly and it irritates my soul. Yeah, the gender wars. And this is the thing. We all need to be kinder to each other. We all need to bring more love into this world. Not only in dating. So one of the other challenges I see with people is they're afraid they're going to do something embarrassing during a date. So let's say I'm on a date with you. And I spill my water all over the table. yeah, it's embarrassing. Like, I'm like, oh God, they're going to think I'm a klutz. They're going to think I'm blah, blah, blah. I was probably gesturing too much with my hands when I spill my water. That's 99% of the time. I got excited and I gestured wildly about something. I got to contain it a little bit. But it's a test. I'm not going to purposely spill my water to test them. This isn't manipulation. But if I do something that I think is like kind of dumb or embarrassing, I'm also looking to see like, how are they going to react to me? Are they going to help me clean it up? Are they going to go get the server? Are they going to laugh along with me? Are they going to laugh at me and make fun of me? That's valuable information right there, because how they're reacting is how they're going to treat you. And if they're not handling that situation very well, I see a lot of TikToks and social media stuff. Yeah, Dominic, I love that. I used to be triggered by rejection until I realized that wasn't the person for you. It's a great thing. Yeah, I did too. I did too. In fact, I was talking to somebody recently and I kind of invited them over to Minnesota, and I didn't get a solid answer. And I was like, part of me was like, kind of feels like I got rejected because I didn't get a solid yes or a solid no. Or hey, let me think about it, or anything, right? I felt like I didn't get any answer. And I had to really sit back and be like, okay, I get to wait and see. But I noticed my emotions coming up. I'd laugh with you and help clean the water up. Of course you would, because you're amazing. You're amazing, Dominic. Fantastic. So I'm getting sidetracked. But this is like also the truth of it, right? It's like we still go through emotional stuff. It's still okay to be embarrassed if you do something on a date that you're not like super excited about, or you say something that you think is stupid. It's natural for our brains to start going like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I should have said something different. Or I wish I had said. That's fine. Like, yes, we want to learn to calm our minds. Yes, we want to learn to forgive ourselves. Yes, we want to learn to let that go. And we're watching the other person. We're evaluating. And same thing, hopefully, if they do, quote unquote, something dumb, or they spill their drink, or they spill something, or they, get the tablecloth caught in their pants when they get up, or whatever, right? Hopefully, we can give them the same grace. Because isn't that how we want to treat our significant other? Isn't that the king or queen treatment that we want to give them? That starts on date number 1. You show up giving in the way you want to be given to. Date number 1. You don't wait till they prove they're worth it. You don't wait until it's going to be a relationship. No, you treat them like a fucking fabulous human being right off the bat. I'm swearing a lot tonight. It's kind of fun. I think I watch Colleen too much. She swears a lot on her things, and sometimes I think I just channel the awesomeness that she is. So here's the thing. So now this is what dates look like. It changes the whole dynamic of dating when you come at it from this angle. And now it's fun because you're hanging out with somebody. You're getting to know somebody. And worst case scenario, it's a funny date story later where you're like, oh my goodness, here's my funny date story. Like, for example, I'm obviously in the alternative healing realm. I've been doing massage therapy for 27 years, and I'm a homeopath, do all kinds of stuff. Right, NLP and hypnotherapy and I mean all the woo-woo medicine and all the things. And a plumber came into my office once to fix something, met me, I was the business owner, met me, asked me out on a date. And then we went on a date and he started talking about all the hippy-dippy woo-woo people. I was like, you mean like me and my employees? And my landlords who own the health food store that I rent from? Like, what? Right? So I had to sit there and observe, and I could have gotten mad. I could have gotten offended. I could have gotten angry. But instead I was like, all right, this is obviously not the person for me, because his communication skills aren't there. He's talking poorly about people that I love and care about. And even if I didn't love and care about them, if the first thing that's happening on a date is someone starts bad-mouthing a whole group of people, my personal values is like, that's a no-no. I don't care if it's a political view. I don't care if it's a religious view. Like, you don't just badmouth a group of people because they're freaking people, right? And not every person in any group has all the same traits. So anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm not getting sidetracked, actually. This is really important to think about because I think this is where we get into dates and we start just going along to get along, or we don't look for the red flags. So now you've got your 5 traits and you can evaluate people during dating. So, or even pre-dating, right? While you're on your online profile, write them on your profile. This is what I look for in a partner. If you don't have these traits, don't apply. Kind of, you can make it funny. You can ask them questions as you're going back and forth via text. And on the dates, if you're not sure if they have the traits or not, you can craft intelligent, deep questions. So A, it makes the date more interesting because you're not just like, oh, tell me about yourself. Do you have family? Do you have dogs? That's great. But how about instead, if you know that family life is really important to you, it's like, how do you envision a family in the future? That's a whole different conversation. Right? And it shows the depth. It can show the depth of who you are as well. So once you know your traits, you can plan some questions that you can ask or things that you're looking for. Okay, so you've narrowed it down to 10, maybe 5 traits. Because eventually, like in the Learn to Find Love class, we'll bring it down to 5. So now for each of those 5 traits, I would need 2 lists under each trait. Evidences that they have that trait, and evidences that they don't have that trait. In other words, we call them counter evidences. So, for example, we'll bring it back to playfulness. I'm actually going to read you mine because I did this for a client and he found it really helpful. So let me grab my, oh shoot, it might be in the car. I might have left my thing in the car. I did leave it in the car. Okay, that's not very helpful. Yep, it's in the car. Shoot, okay. I'm back. So, for playfulness, for example, list of evidences. In other words, what does it look like? So I said that a word like playful, for some of you, that means they're being like class clown, they're being super funny, they're being super cheeky, they're making you laugh, they're dancing, they're being super goofy, right? Goofiness for some people is playful. For me, that's not playful. Not necessarily, anyway. So my list for things under playfulness might be like that they like to tease, or that they think it's fun when I go jump on a playground, like I mentioned before, or they enjoy playing with my nephews, or they're always willing to jump in and engage in new activities. Like that might be under playful for me, right? So we've got these evidences, things that like would make us say, oh yeah, yep, they've got that. Yeah, they've got that. Yeah, that's how I know that they're playful. And then even more important, what's the counter evidence? In other words, how do I know that they're not playful? So this could be things like they make fun of adults who are. They make fun of me when I'm being playful. Maybe they have like a very flat personality. Maybe they don't like children. Like maybe for me, like I'd have to delve more into that, but maybe they don't like, they don't like playing in that way. They don't like card games. They don't like new activities. They don't like, right? So like the counter evidences are really clear. And what we do is we write them down. And the reason why we write them down is because then before, after a date, we can actually look and say, did they have these or not? Because I guarantee you, most of the people that you've dated, either they haven't had all the traits that you need, or they had counter evidences to the traits that you need. And by the way, you can pull your counter evidences from the list of things you didn't like, right? So like the counter evidences are literally coming from your life experience of like, this person did not have this, or they did or didn't do X, Y, Z. Right? So your counter evidence list is mainly written up already for you. Because this is where we miss it. This is where we go, oh, no, they're good communicators. They were vulnerable and they were able to talk a lot about philosophy. I'm just making stuff up, right? But then we miss that in our evidence, what we want to see is someone that can actually communicate about emotion. And in the counter evidence, we see that good communication to us means that they don't avoid vulnerable conversations. And so now we're on a date and they're avoiding vulnerable conversations, and we go, oh, but they can talk about philosophy and they can talk about books and they can talk about movies and they can talk about all of these subjects and they speak really clearly and therefore they're a good communicator. But we totally miss that our counter evidence is that if they're avoiding emotional conversations, that they're not the right person for us. Right? Or that they were cheap with the server, or that they were made fun of the homeless person on the street, or that they talked poorly about their family. Like, if that's on our counter evidence list, we better be making sure that they're not doing those things. Because we're too quick often to look at what people are doing because it's right in front of our face. So this is your work. The list of positives, the list of negatives, turn the negatives into positive, put them into groups, cut it down to 5 or 10 themes, write the evidences that they have it and the counter evidences that they don't have it super clearly. So you can go out, or you can be on texting online, or you can be having a conversation with a potential match. And you can ask questions around it. So let's say that someone being vulnerable is high on your list. Like, you want someone that's vulnerable. Well, what does vulnerability look like? What does it sound like? What are they doing that shows you that they're vulnerable? Maybe it's just having the hard conversations. Maybe it's that they have to bring up hard conversations, not just be willing to engage with them with you. Maybe it's in more areas than just conversation that they're vulnerable. Okay. So now, let's say I know that vulnerability is on my list. And I'm on a date and I'm like, I'm not really sure if they're vulnerable or not. Like, I mean, they've said a couple things that could be vulnerable. Now I can ask a question around it. So I could do something like this. So I'm going to get a little vulnerable here. And one of the most embarrassing times that I can think of right now was this. Or I had this moment where I was super embarrassed because I did XYZ. Or I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here. Like, one of my life dreams is to do this, but I'm really afraid I'm not going to blah, 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 right? And so you frame it like, I'm going to be a little vulnerable. You share something vulnerable, and then you ask them the same question. How about you? When's the time that you felt really angry, really upset, really blah, 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 blah? What's an embarrassing time for you? We can ask questions and see, are they willing to jump into vulnerability? What's a really hard conversation that you've had to have with someone in the past? Because now we're testing, but we're also getting to know them. So it's not just a test. It's an engagement at a really deep soul level. And if they can't meet you, they're not the one. So this is what's really great. So earlier today, oh my gosh. So I was teaching a class to couples in business, right? And so I'm helping some couples who are entrepreneurs, a series of couples who are entrepreneurs, navigate their relationship and business challenges together, right? The lack of communication, stuff about finances, intimacy, all that kind of stuff. One of the things that I showed them, and I wanted to actually show it to all of y'all tonight, and then I realized I can't, it's not like Zoom where I can bring up a screenshot or a slide, is the difference between male and female brains at rest. So I want you to Google it. Google male and female brains at rest and go to images, and you will see a side-by-side picture of the male brain at rest having like a little spot of activity, and the female brain at rest having like all these areas lit up. So I also want you to remember that as you're communicating, if you're dating someone opposite gender, right? I know not all of you are. If you're dating someone the opposite gender, also realize that there are going to be natural differences in the way that you communicate, in the way that you think, in the way that you plan for the future, in even your hobbies, right? And by the way, hobbies should not be on the traits list. Like being healthy and active could be on your traits list, but if you're like, they must like skiing, well, what if they would love skiing? They just have never learned because no one that they know does it, right? Are you going to throw away a perfectly good partner because they haven't learned how to ski in the past, right? So stay away from hobbies. Just want to throw that out there. But that might go underneath something else like activity or liking to be outside or something like that. And remember that brains work differently. Right? We've got Myers-Briggs, we've got StrengthsFinder, we've got the DISC profiles, we've got all of these personality profiles that teach us who someone is and how one person is different than another. So also remember that someone can have your traits but not express that you need, but not express it exactly in the way that you see it. In other words, I, being Cancer, female, and my top personality, I'm an ENTJ, I think. ENTJ? No, I don't even remember. I'm like the 11% that's super emotional and vulnerable all the time, right? It's like and empathy and compassion are high in my traits. And so for me, when I'm vulnerable, like I go super, super deeply vulnerable super fast. And someone else may be vulnerable, but their brain, because of the past experiences, past relationships, their level of vulnerability might not go as deep as mine as fast. So I'm not necessarily looking for them to match me exactly in my ability to be vulnerable, but what I am looking for is, are they willing to be more and more vulnerable when I see them? Are they opening up? Are they trusting as we create safety for each other? Right? Because you want to be like, well, that wasn't very vulnerable. Tell me something different, right? Like we're still coming at love, empathy, compassion, and curiosity. Open curiosity. Because this is what's important. Remember, you're engaging with another human who's been hurt, who's been gaslit maybe, who's been traumatized maybe, sexually, physically, emotionally, mentally. Like you don't know. So we also have to come from a place of compassion of knowing, like, okay, maybe they didn't get as deeply vulnerable as I wanted, but it is only date 1 or date 2. So will they continue to open up for me? And what can I do to make them feel more comfortable? How can I give them that spaciousness without pushing? Right? Kind of scary that I may have the female brain. Well, remember, Dominic, we all have divine masculine, we all have divine feminine, we all have toxic masculine, and we all have toxic feminine inside of us, right? It just comes out different ways, and we carry it in different proportions. So, I don't know. We'd have to MRI your brain at rest. Can you ever just sit and just let your brain like chill? And I don't mean quietness, but there's a way that the male brain usually needs to shut down certain parts of the day, right? So this is where women get frustrated when they see a guy like sitting around watching television or hanging out doing something, or hanging out kind of quote unquote seemingly doing nothing. Like, what were you thinking? And they'll say nothing, because they actually are. Like their brain needs to recharge in that way for the most part, right? So it's not that they're bad or not doing anything or that they're lazy. Like this is how the male brain works differently than the female. It's great. And then we judge it as females, and then we put toxic stuff up on social media, and it's like, no, this is just who we are as difference, right? Different genders. So anyway, so I gave y'all a lot of words there, a lot of things to do. I want you to know that there's more support available as well. So I give you all of this freely. Ask questions in the comments. I follow this group all the time. Put a question in. If you're starting to go through your traits and you're like, hey, I have a question about this, I'm willing to jump on a little call. Like, we can do anything. I want to make sure that I serve you in the best way possible here. That being said, we also go in a deeper dive in the Learning to Find Love course, which I've mentioned. It's 6 weeks online. It starts in January. Or if you happen to be in my area, like Minnesota, Twin Cities, Western Wisconsin area, I'm doing it live in one day on Saturday, January 24th. It's only $333, including all the replays. You get full online access right now, so you can actually start playing with it. Because here's the deal, January is the biggest dating month, because most people kind of pause dating November and December because they don't want to bring someone new to Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah or Ramadan. They don't want to bring someone new there. So then New Year's comes and they're like, woo, I either want someone to party with on New Year's or I want someone by Valentine's Day. So the biggest online dating day is the Sunday after New Year's every single year. So wouldn't it be nice if you could start working on this before the biggest dating day of the year? So that way when you start dating, you're really clear. And if you want more support, reach out. I've got programs. I'd love to support you. But think about the class. It's Learning to Find Love. I'll drop the link. Like I said, it's only $333. I give you a code LOOKING for $50 off. So that drops it to whatever that is, 88, 288, I think is the, if I can do fast math. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Dominic, for engaging. It was really fun to see you. Well, I see there's 3 people on. I don't know who else is on, but all right, George, Dominic, whoever else is there, sending you all so much love. Remember that you are loved, you are loving, you are lovable. Take so much care. Bye-bye.